Hey guys, Subnautica here, back with, well, this is going to be sort of a partial review. This is the 0.7 release of Planet Crafter still. I stopped at about 19 episodes for the channel, and then I was going to wait till the original, or till the full release, and I was like, you know what, let me play a little bit more. And I did about another 20 hours on a different save file, so here's... And it does change, interestingly enough. I didn't realize it did. And this is where I'm at with the different one. I don't know why there's no Survival 2. It doesn't make sense to me. Technically, this should be Survival 2 because little test recording. But yeah, there you go. So, if you don't watch anything else in the video, I kind of got off to a weird start there. Would I recommend the game as it is now? If there were no other updates, because we don't know what the future holds. Would I recommend it? And the answer is no. Which is kind of strange to me, actually, because especially for, you know, the price point of $20, I've put 40 hours into the game. It's a good, you know, hour to cost ratio. I enjoyed it. But I'm a big story guy, and I stopped this one, even though the it's like 2.38 GTI. I've actually gotten farther in the terraforming stages, but I actually didn't expand as much as this one. I haven't explored as much. I haven't gone to all the different areas. I mean, obviously my base is bigger, and I've maybe built a couple other ones, but yeah, it's not, and that kind of goes into why I wouldn't recommend the game. So first off, I got bored. I hit the 20-hour mark. Let's load this, I guess. Okay. Here we are. Here's my base. I'm at the trees thing. We're working our way towards insects. You know, if you want to look out here, I have all this grass, flowers all over the place. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's let's talk, right? Because this game has a 96%, you know, positive rating on Steam, GOG, whatever. And playing it, like I said, I enjoyed it a lot, but it falls more under the addictive Skinner box methodology that a lot of mobile games tend to use, or clicker games. And the big problem is that wears off. And yes, there is sort of story in it at the moment. But that's the part where the story started to get introduced is really the part where I started to get bored, and I was just not really interested in seeing the story or what's there. Now, like I said, that could change in the future. I never really followed Subnautica during development, but I think this was about the point where they started adding, in Subnautica's development, I mean, where they started adding the actual story elements. And Planet Crafter could do that, and it could change the whole game around, and it could be amazing. But in its current state, with just the Skinner box thing, and you need... People might fondly remember Cookie Clicker from back in the day, but they're more fondly going to remember something that had an emotional impact on them. And if there's no story, that's just not going to happen, or not a good one, not something that connects them emotionally. And honestly, the story is what affects my desire to proceed. JRPG fans know this, right? You start going through the story, you're having a great time, even the grinding's fun, and then you get to, like, usually that 60% mark, the 2/3, where the story just kind of pauses, and they open up the world, and they're like, all right, do all the side quests now. Get prepared for the final confrontation. And that's when it becomes a huge slog, generally speaking, until that story picks up at the climax. And that's kind of what this is. It's like, oh, the world's your oyster, you can explore everywhere. but do you want to? Is the thing. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, let me just hit on the story again real fast. If I was going to recommend anything, it would be two big recommendations, I suppose. Start with a goal. Start with a set goal. Tell me I need to get to a certain terraformation index. Because right now it's like, oh, trees, and then there's insects, and what's after the insects? More animals, probably. I don't even know, but it feels like, it's like, when is enough? You know, the fact the sky is blue means you would think that there's breathable air, right? The blue, the color of the sky indicates, as this is my, you know, high school science level understanding, whatever, the refraction of the light dictates a certain amount of chemical composition of the atmosphere. And so you'd think that a blue sky means breathable air. Maybe not. I'm in medicine. I'm not in, you know, atmospheric science or whatever, but have some sort of a goal. And two, start the story early. Give me something. I realize there's wrecks. There's wrecks out here. There's, you know, you start near that one, and that one's like, oh, you start right near a wreck, and you're like, oh, what? It's energy. You go in, you read some email. It's like, its energy was drained. What are you gonna, you know? There's a mystery. Something's causing all these ships to crash on the planet. What could it be? But that's not enough, right? Especially when the next thing is the next thing is the most important thing, which is, I don't even know how to or how to describe it. It's the actual design of the game itself. So let's find somewhere more interesting to look at, right? Okay, this looks cool. We'll watch the grass spreader spread water around, I guess. Maybe some meteors will come in. Who knows? You really, this game really draws a lot of parallels to Subnautica. Both in its story, which so far seems to be, from the little bit that I've experienced, I've read like 4 little things. You go underground, you find some stone tablets. But also the, you know, exploration of the game. There's a lot of parallels, but the problem is the central theme, if you will, of the core game design itself. Because in Subnautica, the gameplay loop, everything is connected, right? You start with your base, and you build your base, and you can build it up, and that's fantastic and great. And you have a limited range of exploration. And you build your base, but then getting stuff, you go out, you get materials, you bring them back, you craft them. That allows you to build tools, right? Which allows you to explore farther, get better materials, bring those back, get better stuff, and that allows you to go even farther and deeper. And all the while, you're getting little bits of story. There's kind of subplots with the different survivors, and then there's sort of the overarching story. The actual structure of the game is really kind of fascinating, because it's like you're trying to get from 1 to 2. You crash on an alien planet, and you're basically like, I gotta escape. You know, survival first, but long-term escape, presumably. 1 to 2. But then to get to 2, there's a roadblock, right? You gotta get to 1.9, and oh, you can't do that. You gotta get to 1.8. There's everything you try and do, there's another problem, and you, as the player, you have to solve those problems in order to proceed, right? And that's directly tied to the exploration. It's directly tied to the gameplay mechanic. You craft the materials, because, you know, you're exploring, you're solving those problems a little bit at a time. The story effectively drives the exploration. It's the reason for why you're exploring. In Subnautica, you have to go out. The base is great, but it's what allows you to go forth. In Planet Crafter, it's basically telling you to stay put. you fare better. Yes, you can build anywhere in the world, because I do appreciate that you don't have to individually power your buildings and stuff. And you can build anywhere, but that doesn't, I mean, I guess it could encourage exploration, but what seems to happen is you want to focus all of your stuff on one area, like I do, because it's cool seeing the base that you built. But what that does is it disincentivizes exploration only when necessary, because the whole point is to get this terraforming index up, right? And the faster and the more efficiently you can do that, the better, because that's allegedly the goal. And I could either go out there and explore, or I could build more stuff, which makes this increase faster. Eventually, yes, you do hit roadblocks, and you know, you get whatever, and it's like, oh, I need to get the tier 4 drill, so I need to go find the materials for that. But generally speaking, you're not really looking to explore. You're not really looking to explore these wrecks, like that one in the distance over there. You're not really looking to explore it because it's just easier to just keep building stuff right here. And there's probably nothing in there that's going to blow your socks off. And that's a problem. I don't know how to fix that one. I have some terrible suggestions, I think. One would be maybe get rid of the meteor showers. Maybe reduce the amount of materials, so that it forces people to explore in order to build the base. But that takes away from the fun, because it's really cool building the base. You know? It's the problem is the game design favors having you stay put, but the world itself wants to be explored, and the map changes as you terraform the planet. Not just with the addition of lakes, there's some other stuff. Two other things I can think of immediately that actually change kind of the map, give you access to other areas, whatnot. But that's, like I said, there's not really an incentive to explore until you need those materials. I don't know how to fix that. It's a problem. But that's my thought. That's something the devs are going to have to fix. If like I said, I've enjoyed it, but you know, I got bored. I got bored right when the story was starting to get introduced, I think. And I was just like, I don't really care, because right now there's no incentive to go explore the story. Actually, let me touch on this real fast and then we'll stop. The immersion is another big factor. This game, I would argue, is not immersive. Not in the same way that Subnautica is immersive, right? Subnautica, and it's not, I don't think it's just the fear aspect of Subnautica. I think that's a big factor. Fear of the unknown, the fact that when you're going out, you're actually, I don't know about you guys, when I was playing Subnautica, it felt like I personally was in danger. Even though it's just, you know, it's a smoke and mirrors, it's illusion. I'm not really in danger, but the game sets it up so that I kind of believe that I am, which is actually pretty masterful. A lot of the survival stuff is window dressing, you know, from the food mechanics and all that. Here, I mean, if they got rid of the oxygen and the food and stuff, would that be better? Would that make it more likely that people would explore the map? Maybe. But yeah, like, I wanted, when I played Subnautica, it wasn't just immersive because of the terror, right? It was also because I wanted to see the alien life. You know, that was another thing that drove exploration was, you know, I want to scan all these creatures, I want to read about them, and not just that, but doing that also can sometimes give you tips. Oh, you can use this plant for water, right? Here, there's really not any of that. It's just the desire for exploration is basically for resources. But you don't really need to do that. And even at this point in the game, I'm getting meteor showers of rare materials. And it's like, well, now I really don't need to go out. So I don't know how to fix this issue. I think a story will help, or especially some kind of kick towards the beginning, because like I said, I got 20 hours with basically no story, and then when they started introducing the story, I was already bored. And I'm like, what's it gonna do? Unlock another mineral to make my index go up faster? Like, why am I doing this? Whereas Subnautica, you basically had a goal to go for it. The base was fun, but it was excuse me, the base building was a distraction. The base building was something that you had, I guess you didn't have to do, but you wanted to do. It wasn't the game itself. So I don't know, those are kind of my thoughts. I'd actually be interested in hearing your guys' thoughts as well. I know there's a lot of rabid fans of the game. I've seen a couple negative reviews online, and people are like, you're stuck, you're stupid. And I'm just like, look, I like this game. I want it to be better. I think the Skinner box mentality of the game at the very beginning is a great starting hook. But you got to move past that. You got to introduce some mystery, and the wrecks just aren't going to cut it. Not unless... oh, excuse me. Do I have water? There you go. Let's eat some eggplant. Shove some eggplant in my mouth too. Why not? I love eggplant in my mouth. Take that however you want. I mean, it was intentionally a double entendre. Yeah, I was in the army. It's Thursday today. F it, you know. No, I really think this game could be something fantastic. Not just addictive, which it is. But I want to... And it actually kind of reminds me a lot of Subnautica Below Zero, which was also a game that you went out and you had all these fantastic sites. If you haven't played Below Zero, by the way, it's... Well, if you haven't played either, play the first one. But Below Zero had all these really interesting things, like the lily pad area and that one underwater place with all the I don't know what they were, the flowers that were poofing out the little dandelion seeds or whatever. Really beautiful areas, but it's like, oh, that's pretty. Moving on. You know, because there's no emotional impact. It's just pretty, right? But there's no emotional connection, which is the key. The story has to provide us with an emotional connection, which Subnautica does, because that's the kind of the brilliant thing about the original Subnautica is everything sort of ties together, even including the crafting and the gameplay loop, because you're sort of mirroring what the other people tried and failed to do, right? Here, there is one thing of that, and just real fast, let's go there, right? It's right near here. They include these little secrets, right? Where is it? There's all these little secrets in the game that I happen to find. Also, interestingly enough, my pod is right here. You can kind of see, we'll go underwater. There's my pod. When I did the first playthrough for the channel, my pod was over there. So I guess it's kind of like Subnautica, where you have starting zones, right? Where was it? I think it's here. There's a wall. Is it this? Maybe not. Hang on. Where is it? Right there. There's a wall that's deconstructible, but it won't tell you, even if you go up to it. Only it'll tell you if you actually have your deconstructor selected, and then you go up to it, and it'll be like, oh, you can deconstruct this wall. And in there is the final fate. You find out the fate of the other dude that was here. And there could be more. Who knows? There could be more people. This world is littered with the wrecks of other ships. And where am I now? Okay. But it's like there needs to be some sort of emotional connection that we, the person playing the game, experience. You know, it's why I've mentioned this before. It's why Final Fantasy VII is so special, and why it's lasted 20 years. Even if you go back and play it today, and it's janky, and the dialogue is kind of horrible in places. And I'm talking about the translation, not the use of the word retard, which I'm totally cool with. It still holds up because of that emotional connection that it's able to provide. Conversely, you have all these pretty AAA games that have no soul, so to speak, and people will play through and they're like, yep, all right, moving on. And no one will remember even a month later. That's what the devs need to figure out how to do. And that's why I think there's still hope, because like I said, Subnautica, right around this point, the point 7, that's where they started putting in the story, I think. Like I said, I'm not totally sure, but anyway, that's it. That's it of my review. Unfortunately, current recommendation is no. Also, I don't know what those lines in the water are. There's some weird... For being made by 2 people, this game is very competent. It's very surprising. Oh, oxygen? Yeah, alright. There you go, boom. But, yeah, that's it for today, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm actually really curious about your guys' comments. That is basically all. Questions, comments, concerns, good, bad, or indifferent. I do try and read all of them. I'm still getting a lot of comments from that other video, but it's a little more manageable. I'm not even going through any of those yet, but I do try and read all the ones that are not associated with the Neverending Story video, and I do try and respond to all of those. So if you do have a comment, let me know. Assuming it's not memory hold, and assuming I see it, I will try and respond to it. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. That's it for today, guys. Hope to see you guys next time. Till then, guys, take care. All right, so let us